I was having a conversation with a friend this morning via FaceTime, and he was talking about an upcoming skiing trip. And I kind of said to him, upcoming, when were you planning to do this? And he said, well, he was really hoping that he would be able to go skiing at the end of the year. And I realized that there are way too many of my friends who just haven't fully thought this thing through. I suppose it's the curse of being a futurist. That's my job. I don't predict the future, but I do track trends and I do analyze data for a living. And I can tell you that even if we come out of lockdown in the next few weeks, and we will come out of lockdown in the next few weeks, we will phase our way out of lockdown. And there is not a single chance that the world will get anywhere near back to normal before we have a vaccine. And even after we have a vaccine, which by the way is 12 to 18 months away, a vaccine is only going to come sometime in the middle of 2021. And even when we have a vaccine ready, we still have to produce enough and ship it around the world and give it to everybody before we can even think about getting back to normal again. So maybe my friend might be able to go skiing at the end of 2021. But in 2020, I highly doubt it. One of the things that's going to take the longest to come back after we've dealt with the initial crisis is international airline travel. We are going to have to continue social distancing even after the crisis is over, even after our lockdown periods have finished. We're going to have to keep 2 meters, 6 feet apart from other human beings as much as possible, limiting the contact that we have with other human beings as much as possible for 12 to 18 months. We really do need to get this into our heads. So if your office says, hey, you can come back to work next week, you have to ask them, is there plan in place for physical distancing? If you work in an office space where people are quite crammed together, you can no longer do that. If your canteen at your office block is packed full of people every lunchtime, it's not going to be able to be for the next 12 to 18 months. If you think you're going to fly somewhere, how do you social and physically distance yourself on an aeroplane? You're going to only have 1 person per row. And that's not economically viable for the airlines, so they'd probably prefer to not fly than to fly 1/3 empty planes in order to give you that 2-meter radius on an airplane. And countries are not going to let you in. We have a real problem coming up with COVID-19, and that's called the second wave. We know this happens because it's happened every other time the world has experienced a pandemic. 100 years ago, we had the Spanish flu in the winter of 1918 after the end of World War I. Millions of people around the world died. And as summer in the Northern Hemisphere came around, the flu subsided and everybody breathed a sigh of relief. So then in October, November, and December 1919, as winter came back again in the Northern Hemisphere, the flu came back again and millions more people died. We have a distinct possibility of a second wave in some countries. China's already beginning to battle. South Korea are already beginning to see a little bit of uptick in a second wave. And that's because people are not practicing social distancing. So the whole point I'm trying to make to you, and I hope I got this across to my friend who thinks he's going skiing sometime this year, is that the world is not going back to normal anytime soon. Even if lockdown ends fairly soon, and it probably will, we are going to have to live in a really different world for the next few months until we get that vaccine. It's going to change how your office is set up, what public transport looks like. It's going to continue to make sure that we don't travel internationally as countries restrict your access and put you under quarantine if you cross over a border. It's going to affect our schools and our hotels and our restaurants and our shopping malls, and pretty much everything you imagine you are going back to is going to look very, very different in the next 12 to 18 months. Please start getting your head around the fact that this world is a very different world. We haven't just had a short holiday, a few weeks at home, and then we go back to how things were. Everything has changed. Everything is going to have to change. And that means that you and your organization are going to have to change too. If you'd like more information or you'd like some help in thinking through what changes you and your organization are going to face, please make sure that you contact me, and our team at Tomorrow Today will be able to help you.